Guys, the final week is upon us, and with it, arguably the best exotic catalyst you can be getting for your Choir of One. Let me just say, this exotic was already really good, but Onslaught has taken it to that next level. Now, if you missed any of our other previous videos on how to get the Intrinsics and the other exotic catalysts, we'll have those linked down below. And I will say a lot of this does just build on itself, so definitely check out those guides before checking out this one. Now, to start this week, I would definitely recommend doing a few things first before jumping into Encore. And the reason for this is that you want to knock out a bunch of different things at once. So for instance, I would go and talk to Encore in the Helm. This will begin this week's story mission. Again, not required for upgrading Choir of One, but definitely going to be required when we get to the part when talking about obtaining the Anomalies. And that of course ties to the story. So you might as well do both at the same time. Now this week's quest has us going to the Vel on Neomuna, which I don't know about you guys, it has been a long time since I've been back on Neomuna. But here we're going to be interacting with one of Felsafe's nodes. Now to get here quickly, just launch the Vel containment from the map and the node will be right there. Now after you do that, you'll then need to do one more thing on Neomuna, which is simply marked on your map. Now here at the VexNet gate, you'll stick a thing into the ground and your next quest step will be to enter the Encore mission. Now before doing the Encore mission, definitely head to Bungie, guys. He holds the Catalyst quest. This one will be the third and final Catalyst quest that you can get from Bungie, and just like in the previous weeks, these objectives are retroactive. That means if you've done the expert version of this mission, you do not have to redo the expert version here now, as that will already be checked off. Matter of fact, if you loot the second chest before even picking up this quest, when you go to Bungie, the quest will actually auto-complete. But just to be safe, guys, pick it up before going into Encore. With the prerequisites out of the way though, let's jump into our Encore mission. Overall, it's just slightly different from what we had last week. Osiris is going to be here in the beginning talking to us with a few more obstacles and enemies that were added, things like lasers in the chasing counter and more Cyclops in the boss room, but nothing really affects the standard run though. Now to start unlocking everything for this week, we of course need to activate the Nexus. Same as usual, shoot the boxes that have the white box beneath them and just keep shooting each one that has that same white box that's beneath them. Then you'll continue through the mission till we get to the first conflux. You activate that and then you'll go through the portal. Now inside, contrary to what we were expecting, there are still only 2 portals that are active. Now straight ahead is one of the big Minotaurs, and the left portal is to the mission starting area. We're actually going to head through that portal, and on the other side you'll see 2 markers this time. One marker is for this conflux, which we did way back in week 1, but now there's going to be a second up where Osiris was. Activating this conflux will cause 3 yellow bar Minotaurs to spawn in. Now you dispatch them, and that will then spawn the chest, which will reward you the command frame for intrinsic upgrade. This of course will unlock your stock options for your Choir of One, and of course give you that stat bump. Now once you've done that, you can then return to completing the mission just like normal until you reach the second conflux that's just before the final boss fight. Now activating this one and entering its portal will take us back to the Nexus, but with that final third portal actually active. Now taking this will take us to a room with a massive cube in the middle. Our goal is to drop the walls of the cube to access what's inside. Now around the cube, there are going to be 4 green buff pots and 2 plates, each accompanied by a Hydra. And there's also a single green buff that will spawn just under where you enter the room at, and the first thing to do is activate the plates. You do this by killing the nearby Hydra, and once you've done that, you can then sit on them, which will cause these rings to appear. Now you need to head back to the room and kill a Minotaur, which will drop a Vex Cranium. At the same time, you pick up the green buff and deposit it at the green pod just in front of the portal. Now this will cause a puzzle to spawn inside of the box. This is the same portal that we did at the very beginning of this episode that requires you to laser all of the 3 white cubes at the same time. But with that spawned, you're going to sit here on the plate to the left and you're going to shoot the mirror wall. Now you can hold down the trigger or you can even tap it if you want, just so you get the right angle. But you sit on the plate to the left and you shoot that wall. And you know you hit right because you'll start to hear stuff break. And you'll keep that up until the chat says partition weakened. That right there means you're on the money. From that point, you'll then take the green buff to the opposite side of the cube and you're going to dunk it there. You'll stand on the nearby plate and again laser the mirror. And you'll actually see the mirror spawn in. Upon successfully lasering the right areas, you'll get another partition weakened message, but this Vex wall at the very back of the room will also drop, revealing another green buff. Now what we now need to do is take both the green buffs and put one at the beginning and then one at the left. This will allow you to sit on the first plate, this time facing forward to complete the current puzzle. Now once you've broken that, you take both buffs and then place them each on the opposite side, filling the right and far pots. You go to the far plate and shoot the back towards the portal, which once completed will drop all the walls and will spawn a chest. Now this is the secret chest of week 3. That means if you have Banshee's quest on you, you will immediately receive the Onslaught retrofit catalyst. Now before you move on, you can actually pick up NES 009, which will give you these 2 cute dragons that you can take to the helm. Yeah, I don't know what we're gonna do with them, but they're cute. Now for Choir of One, that's it. That's its maximum potential, and we will be reviewing Choir of One with Onslaught. Let me just say, guys, it's extremely deadly. However, I would recommend finishing the mission, at least for the story quests. Upon finishing out this quest, there are actually 2 more secrets that we need to be going over, both related to emblems. The first comes after you finish watching the cutscenes and spoken to everyone in the helm. This is, of course, after you finish the quest, done everything that needs to be done. And if you do run into the bug where Sane is not there to talk to, just reload back into the helm until you can talk to him. Now, Failsafe will give you an epilogue quest, which surprisingly takes us to Europa. That's right, guys, the Europa Exoscience. Here, there is an anomaly that when we pick up, we'll progress the quest and will ask us to find 8 more anomalies within the Encore mission. Now, let me just say, if you're a fan of the story and the lore, and I know some people don't like the lore and story for this episode, but I actually do like the story surrounding Maya Sundaresh and Kiyomi Esi. The dialogue between both of them really pull me in. I would highly suggest cranking up that dialogue audio and just listen after you pick up each one of these anomalies. Now, the first anomaly is actually in the spawn area towards the left and off the ledge. Now, as you can see, they look exactly like the anomaly you interacted with on Europa. The second anomaly appears during the first puzzle room. It'll be next to the Vex wall that you have to drop in order to scan the conflux, and there's a little cubby that will be holding the second anomaly. Proceed like normal, but make sure to activate the Nexus, as you 100% need this in order to get one of the later anomalies. Now, outside of that, just proceed until you get to this room just before the blue buff is introduced. Now, here around the corner to the left, the third anomaly will be hiding, so make sure you don't miss that one, guys. Now, the fourth one isn't far, as it's behind you as you complete the blue buff puzzle, right here on the other side of the portal. Now, the fifth anomaly is just after the boss fight, where you see that floating Hydra above the Vex Milk River. Right behind you will be the anomaly on a small ridge. The sixth anomaly is in the next room, and you should pretty much see it immediately as you clear the ads. It's right here towards the left. Then the seventh anomaly is just one room over on the ledge of this big Vex rock. Now, the final anomaly is actually located in the cave maze, the same maze that we were in last week. This is the maze that has the red buff that you'll need to carry with you, and this is exactly why you needed to activate the Nexus earlier. Now, this is going to be located near the end of the maze. You'll need to pick up the red buff, dunk it on the first door, and then move through that to get to the final anomaly, which will complete the epilogue quest and grant you the Before Aurora emblem. Now, the last secret is how we unlock the Transient Whisper emblem and the challenge mode of Encore. First thing to do is load into Encore on expert difficulty. And then once you've loaded in, take the path we do here on the screen, which will take you under the Vex Milk waterfall. Now, here you should see a symbol for Whisper of the Worm on the wall. If you then equip Whisper onto your character, the wall will disappear, and within it is an active portal. Going through this will restart the mission and will give you a 35-minute timer. And if you successfully complete the mission in time, with that timer still going, you will then complete the triumph that rewards you with the Transient Whisper emblem. Honestly, a really cool thing that they added here, especially the play there on Whisper of the Worm. And that's it. That is everything, wrapping up our guides here for our Echoes episode. Again, we'll have links to everything down below if you missed any of the previous intrinsics or exotic catalysts, starting from top to bottom, as well as covering other specimens and secrets. Well, fellas and ladies, thank you all for coming and watching, and as always,
slap that like button like your mama told you right.